An open letter to gold. Can the real Jan Yaman be found again? What happens when a man who once lit up the world with his authenticity trades his soul for the fleeting dazzle of fame? Where does the fire in his heart go when the spotlight dims and the cameras fade? Has the Jan Yaman we all adored, Turkey's proud son, a beacon of integrity and purpose, slipped away into a world that sparkles but lacks depth? At Magazine News and Gossip, we're diving headfirst into this emotional roller coaster, and we're calling on you, Gold, his mother, his rock, to help us answer the burning question: can the real Jan Yaman still be saved? A hero's rise and a heartbreaking shift. Once upon a time, Jan Yaman wasn't just a name, he was a movement. A man who carried the spirit of Turkey in every step, whose every word and action radiated purpose, discipline, and an unwavering connection to his roots. From his early days captivating audiences with raw talent to his meteoric rise on the global stage, Jan was more than a star. He was a symbol of authenticity, a man whose intelligence, charisma, and grounded values inspired a generation. His eyes sparkled with ambition, his heart beat with pride, and his presence commanded respect. But something's changed, hasn't it? The Jan we see today, strutting down red carpets, flashing curated smiles in glossy social media posts, tangled in fleeting romantic headlines, feels like a shadow of the man we once knew. Where's the fire that once burned in his gaze? Where's the depth that made us believe in him? At Magazine News and Gossip, we've watched this transformation with a growing ache in our hearts. The Jan Yaman who once moved us with his sincerity now seems caught in a whirlwind of superficiality, designer labels, staged photo ops, and a lifestyle that screams flash over substance. This isn't just about a new look or a new vibe. It's about what it all means. Has fame rewritten his story? Has the allure of the spotlight dulled the values you, Gold, so carefully instilled in him? We're not just grieving a celebrity's shift. We're mourning the erosion of a man who once stood for something greater. The seductive trap of stardom. Let's face it, fame is a double-edged sword, and Jan seems to be bleeding from its cuts. The world he now navigates, red carpets, brand endorsements, tabloid-fueled romances, feels like a carefully crafted illusion. The Jan Yaman we celebrated was a man of substance, someone who valued intelligence, character, and integrity above all else. But today, we see him chasing trends, posing for the cameras, and aligning himself with a culture that thrives on hollow validation. What happened to the young man who carried himself with dignity? Is he lost in the haze of social media likes and fleeting applause? We can't help but wonder, is this the life Jan chose, or is he trapped in a machine that demands he play a part? The partnerships, the endorsements, the polished image, it all feels like a script written by someone else. And at the core of this transformation lies a question that keeps us up at night. Can a man who once stood so tall fall so far? The answer isn't in the headlines or the Instagram stories. It's in the quiet moments, when Jan looks in the mirror and confronts the man he's become. Do his eyes still shine with pride, Gold? Or are they weary, searching for something he's lost along the way? A mother's heart, a son's truth. Gold, you know Jan better than anyone. You raised a man who was more than a star. He was a son, a symbol, a source of pride for a nation. You taught him the values that shaped him: discipline, respect, and a deep-rooted connection to his heritage. But as we watch him drift further from those roots, we turn to you with heavy hearts. Does Jan seem happy to you? Does his soul feel at peace when he poses for those glossy magazine covers? Is he truly present, or is he playing a role to meet the expectations of a world that doesn't know him like you do? At Magazine News and Gossip, we believe the truth lies in the eyes. Jan's eyes used to tell a story of determination, of a man who carried the weight of representing his country with honor. But now, those eyes seem clouded, tired, weighed down by the pressure to perform, to conform, to be someone he's not. We're not here to cast judgment, Golden. We're here to ask, can you still see the son you raised in the man he's become? Is he still the Jan who made you proud, or has he been swept away by a world that values image over integrity? The weight of the wrong influences. Let's be real. The people around Jan have changed, and not for the better. The company he keeps, the influences he's surrounded by, they don't reflect the man he once was. We're not pointing fingers at one person, but we can't ignore the patterns. The women in his life, the partnerships he's forged, they seem to pull him further from his core. A good influence lifts a man up, reminds him of his roots, and strengthens his resolve. But the wrong crowd? It can unravel even the strongest of souls. Right now, it feels like Jan is tangled in a web of superficial connections that starve his spirit. At Magazine News and Gossip, we've seen this story play out before. Fame can be a gilded cage, trapping even the best of men in a cycle of validation and emptiness. Jan's recent choices, his relationships, his public persona, feel like a departure from the man who once stood for authenticity. Is he surrounded by people who challenge him to be better, or are they simply feeding into the narrative of fame? We're not saying Jan is weak, but we're asking, has he lost sight of what made him strong? A wake-up call for a hero. This letter isn't just a cry of frustration, it's a rallying cry. Golden, you are Jan's anchor, the one person who can remind him of who he truly is. The world may shower him with praise, followers, and lucrative deals, but you see the heart beneath it all. You see the boy you raised, the man who carried your values into the world. And we believe that man is still there, waiting to be called back. Fame is fleeting, and glamour is a mirage, but family and values? Those are eternal. Can you reach him, Golden? Can you remind him of the principles that made him a hero to so many? At Magazine News and Gossip, we're not giving up on Jan Yaman. We still believe in the man who inspired a nation, who showed the world what it meant to be authentic, disciplined, and true. But he needs you now more than ever. He needs the unyielding strength of a mother's love, the kind of love that doesn't shy away from hard truths. Tell him, Golden. Tell him the world sees his struggle. Tell him his fans, his country, and his family want the real Jan back, not the polished version on the red carpet, but the man whose heart pulsed with purpose. A spark of redemption. This isn't the end of Jan's story. It's a pivotal moment. We refuse to believe the man we admired is gone forever. He's still there, buried beneath layers of expectations and illusions. But it's going to take a spark to bring him back. A spark only you, Golden, can ignite. Remind him of the values you taught him. Remind him of the pride he carried for his country. Remind him that true happiness doesn't come from likes, followers, or staged romances. It comes from living a life aligned with one's truth. At Magazine News and Gossip, we're cheering for January. We're rooting for the man who made us believe in the power of authenticity. We're rooting for the son you raised, the hero we celebrated. But he can't do it alone. He needs your guidance to find his way back to himself. And we, his fans, are here, ready to welcome him back, not as a celebrity, but as the man we know he can be. The power of a mother's voice. Golden, this letter is for you, but it's also for every mother who's watched their child lose their way. It's for every fan who's felt the sting of disappointment as their hero stumbled. And it's for Jan, a man who still has the chance to reclaim his legacy. The truth is a powerful force. It can cut through the noise, the glamour, and the illusions. And sometimes, it takes a mother's voice to deliver it. At Magazine News and Gossip, We're not here to tear Jan down. We're here to lift him up, to remind him, and you, that he's more than the headlines, more than the red carpet poses. He's Jan Yaman, a man who once stood for something real. With your love, your strength, and your truth, he can be that man again. So, Golden, we leave you with this. Can you call your son back? Can you help him find the man he was meant to be? The world is watching, and we're hoping, praying, that the real Jan Yaman will rise again. Because even the best of men can get lost, but with a mother's courage, they can always be found.